And I was amazed that, you know, just a few fish with one vehicle, you know, so much people trying to buy from that one vehicle and the price. So I realized there was a demand for fish in Montserrat. Now, this is what we wanted to teach, the Grenadian surface longline. And the reason for it is that it has been used very effectively in Grenada. And so we are trying to transfer the technology. In many countries are now interested in longlining. Last year we did a program in India. The Indian government made a request, and we went to India to conduct a program. Even the Maldives have just called back now, and they want me to come for 3 months early in the next year to do an extensive program for them. So there's a demand with that type of technology. And the reason for it is very selective, and it's very effective for the large pelagic. So this is what we wanted to catch, the yellowfin tuna. And the long line would hold yellowfin tuna, it would hold the sailfish, we call ocean gear, marlin, and the dolphin. These are the main species, and of course swordfish. All right. Now these are the typical boats in Grenada that we long line from. As you see, they are small boats with reels. Okay. All these on the west coast, we have, you know, a number of this type of boats fishing, local fishermen going out every day from these boats and the fishing. And this type of boat is just about 28 feet, as you can see, and they are long lining, similar to the boats that you have in Montserrat. Okay, and we have lots of them on the west coast of Grenada conducting long lining. So they are very similar with some of the size of boats that you have here. Of course, we have the bigger boats that can spend, these boats spend up to a week, you know, up to sometimes 9-10 days at sea, because you have sleeping accommodation, you have ice box that can hold it. That's the ice box right here. Inside you have a stove, you have bunks for 4 fishermen, but it's basically long lining that they are doing, okay? And they have a number of them around, okay? So we had classroom training in GPS, seamanship, radio communication, safety at sea, and of course long lining, explaining all the fundamentals of long lining. And we, you know, all the guys were there, and we had all the sessions. They came night, evening after evening. We had this session mainly on evenings, because to facilitate the fishermen, for some who working part-time and had other things to do during the day, so they thought it was best that we have this session from sometimes 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening, and we go into the night.
In my other life, when I used to be in agriculture, it was always said that when we speak about agriculture, we tend to forget the fishermen. So when I took on this new life, I decided that that would not be said of this government. Immediately after taking office, I had a meeting with the fishermen, or fisher folk, sorry, at the market. And I assured you, the fishermen, that it was this government's intention to work along with you to improve your catches and to improve the amount of fish that's available on island. I'm very pleased to be associated with this training, that you have in fact come out in your numbers, or gone into your numbers to the training programs over the past 3 weeks. I'm also happy that the numbers of young persons have increased. We want to thank the senior fishermen for their contribution to the fishing industry. But in terms of the future, we have to start recruiting younger persons into the fishing industry. One thing I said to the fishermen at the market and meeting, I would want to see 2 or 3 young men get together, buy a trawler, go out to sea and spend some days out there and harvest and come with very good catches. You argue that if you catch enough fish, then there won't be any market. I can assure you that there's a significant gap between imports and the amount of fish that you catch. So there's already a local market for fish. Don't worry about the marketing. Just do the catching, leave the marketing to somebody else, and we will assure you that you will get your money for your fish. So just forget about the marketing part of it. I know you're accustomed to go out and spend 2-3 hours, come in and sell your fish yourself. That is not sustainable. I want you to go out and spend 2-3 days if possible. And come in, dump your fish on your association or your cooperatives, leave them there and go back to sea again. And that is the direction in which I want to take fisheries during my tenure as Minister responsible for agriculture. You're not only fishing, you're fishing to improve your livelihood, the livelihood of your families, and to make fresh fish available to consumers, and may I say, at reasonable, affordable prices. Reasonable, affordable prices. Because there's no need for us to be competing with the imported price of fish. Yes, I know gas is expensive. Yes, I know why it's expensive. Yes, I know that you have to go to sea and spend days. I know you have to, it's a business, and you must be paid for your fish. But there is no way that you need to compare to sell your fish at $15 a pound. It's local fish. And government will, any subsidy that I will support for fishermen will be tied. I say it again. Any subsidy that I will support for fishermen will be tied to a reduction in the price to the consumer. That any subsidy must be passed on to the consumer. I'm not going to support subsidy if it's not going to pass on, whether it's in fuel or whatever, unless it's going to pass on some of it to the consumer. However, I want to urge you, you're now equipped to go out there with a different technique. No longer will you be losing the numbers of fish pots. I know when you have heavy storms, you tend to lose a lot of traps. Now you'll be going out with your reel and your lines to do deep sea fishing. I want to wish you all the best, and I don't want you to drop out. I want to see numbers increase. If you can't develop a business, 1, 2, or 3 if you go together and form a business and go out. Other people, other nations are exploiting our resource, marine resource. We need to make use of it ourselves and to benefit from it. So, on behalf of the government of Montserrat, I want to wish you every success as you endeavor to go out with this new technique and to make fish more affordable and available to all of us. Thank you.
What has been done, we transfer the technology so that after I leave, the guys can continue building the reel, and that is important, to in transferring technology. Okay, so simple operation of fabricating the reel. Okay, as you see, you have to cut the pipe to the desired length, and then everyday tools that you can use, and you get a jigsaw, and you cut the pieces, and for fabricating the reel. So it was done by local guys here, and effectively, and there were a lot of guys looking on, and that was important. While I remember in India, we employed somebody in a shop to construct the reel for us, and he did the reel in his shop. Nobody saw. But it was a good suggestion by Mr. Pontin that we, instead of blacks doing it at his home or somewhere, we do it in Casby, where all the guys could see, and I thought that was really, really good, and I would use that method, that way in future programs, so that guys can see how it is done, than just bringing the reel out in the open and they see the completed reel. So a lot of guys observed the whole operation in fabricating the reel. Okay, even the Steinman. Okay. All right, so we went through the whole process of a reel, and after it was fiberglass, and then it was painted. Okay, and after it was painted, we brought it to the government mechanic shop where they fabricate the stand. Any welding shop could do the same thing. Okay, to make the stand for the reels. All right, simple materials again that you have all around the house that you can use to fabricate it. And then we, of course, put some paint on it to make it look pretty. And then we load it up on the van, and then we head down to our training center. That was where we conducted the training program. And these were some of the materials that were purchased: the lines, the floats, the hooks and snaps. And these are the 2 types of hooks that we use. They're stainless steel. Okay. And everybody during the program made some part of the gear, and that was really, really important. That was our young fella there. And also we had, besides, I was really pleased to see some of the young guys, and especially Kwan had his sons there too, and it was really, really encouraging, and I think that's the future of the industry. If you can get those young guys interested in fishing. And they all, they were excited about making up the gear and, what we had to say. So, I mean, it was really, really encouraging with the whole group of folks putting on, showing that interest. So we did all the fabrication of the gear in that hall. Okay. Everybody, as I said, did some parts of it. We had to burn some of the cords to connect the lines. So we showed everybody how to do everything. And then we put on the line, the completed line on the reels. Okay? So these are the line on the reel. And then we took the reels now to the boat. to have it installed on the boat that we will be using for training. And these are the reels there now, and we had it on the boat there. And this is the boat with the completed lines or fitted. And as you can see, it's very similar to the boats that we have in Grenada. It's nothing more, there's no sophistication about it. And of course, we started our fishing trials, so the boat was adequate, okay? All right, so we went out, you know, the boat was sitting here, and I think the main objective here was setting and retrieving the line. So while we teach the fishermen to make we taught the fishermen to make the gear, it was important they know how to set the gear and how to retrieve it back into the boat. After I leave, the fishermen can do it by themselves. So that was really, that was our strategic objective, and I think it was met. So different fishermen from time to time went out, okay? And as you see, the gear is not difficult to operate, okay? It's not difficult to operate. It's simple, you know. There are manual reels. You don't have no breakdown of the reels, you know. In some areas where fishermen breaking down and so forth, you don't have that. Okay, as you see that it's a simple operation manually. Okay, and it can pick up that line effectively. So I think it was really good that the fishermen operated with the gear. So they knew exactly it was not difficult to operate with, okay? And we also did some GPS training. We had a classroom session,